What's going on, everybody? Just want to give another update video showing where I'm at. So, as you can see, we're just about ready to drop the cab back on the truck, but I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I want to get all the pain in the ass stuff buttoned up before dropping the cab on, so I don't have to be working on a scaffold or on a ladder. But yeah, I have recorded most of the work on a different camera, so hopefully I'll have some time to actually show you guys that footage of me actually doing it, not just showing you what's done. But these little small update videos are being filmed on a phone, so this is what you guys get. But anyway, I felt like the last video was a little bit rushed. Kind of wanted to show basically some stuff that I've been working on that, even though I didn't really maybe explain what the hell I was up to, but I will show it now. So yeah, this motor originally came out of my old truck, and it didn't have that many miles on it compared to this truck. This truck was about 280 on the clock, and mine was like 150. But that engine came out of the old truck, which caught on fire in Utah. But basically everything was salvageable, and I just got a different truck just to kind of avoid doing body work on the damage that was caused. But the motor pretty much survived the whole fire, and all my parts survived too. So I went ahead and cleaned them all up. So the O-Dog I had Cerakoted, and the B&D manifolds I also had Cerakoted. And let's see, the turbo was also out of my old truck as well, and I had taken the exhaust housing off and had that Cerakoted as well. And same with the oil cooler setup and that filter housing that I had modified, all off of the old truck, all survived the fire. I just been cleaning it up. I actually modified the fuel bowl filter thing a little bit more, so I have some more but more ability to get in here with a wrench. Those are a pain in the ass to get to when everything's plumbed in. But if you're wondering why I'm keeping the fuel bowl, because I have a regulated return system on this truck, and that just makes it a hell of a lot easier having that fuel bowl there. I mean, it's got to be mounted someplace, so to be honest, it works pretty well. I don't know if you guys can see, but this is the back of the head, and that one gets connected into the regulated return. So it's a pretty sweet setup. That all survived too. I mean, basically all I did was just take everything off and clean it all up, and the biggest pain in the ass about the whole situation was getting rid of all the fire extinguishant off the motor, which basically likes to eat away at the metal and the aluminum. So you definitely want to get that off as quickly as possible, but holy shit, was that a pain in the ass. I pulled the high pressure oil pump out, and I did a basic pressure test on it, and I was pretty sure that the high pressure oil pump was leaking out of the front seal, which I don't know. I've never actually tested a good one before to tell you what a good one looks like or a bad one looks like, but everybody was saying if it was leaking out of there with less than 100 psi, that's probably an issue. So I went ahead and bought a new Adrenaline high pressure oil pump and got that all installed and cleaned everything up in there. And this truck's got an interesting mod to it. I wasn't the one that put it in, but it has these coolant passages in the back of the head that allow coolant to basically take a shorter path from the back of the head back to the thermostat housing. I'll show you where those go actually. They get connected to there with them AN fittings. Going to replace the actual lines, but I'm going to keep that setup. It's pretty cool actually. It worked fantastic actually. Couldn't tell you what it's called, but yeah. One weird part about this truck, there's two things I found which basically were things I wasn't planning on doing to the truck. Then I decided that once I was there, I was like, well, why not? When I took the oil pan off and did the bed plate gasket and the oil pan gasket, I had actually found a full-on razor blade that somehow made its way up into the pickup tube. I have no idea. It wasn't for me because I wasn't working on the truck prior to this situation, so anybody's missing a razor blade from Colorado, let me know. But that was pretty interesting to find stuck in a pickup tube. But I got that out of there. And another interesting find was probably the same people in Colorado that lost a razor blade, but that that glow plug was maybe one turn away from falling out. When I put my socket in there just to see if I can grab it, I spun it once and it pulled straight out. I have no idea how this truck was running without any sort of obvious signs of something. The only thing I noticed was this valve cover had been leaking a smidge after I just replaced it with new head gaskets and silicone the shit out of it, mind you. It was leaking out of that gasket and I couldn't figure out why. Well, I'm pretty sure it was the pressure from the cylinder pushing oil out that little glow plug harness, which makes a lot of sense. So if you're in there, definitely check your glow plugs. Make sure they're at least screwed in on all the way. I wouldn't go being crazy and torquing them down, but just make sure they're tight. I literally pulled it out with one turn of a hand, basically. So the front of the truck, I have this overdrive pulley that I got from a diesel site, which they claim gives you a little bit more flow to your pump, and I'm just hoping it'll make that bad boy work a little bit more on idle when you're trying to turn these wheels, when you're standing still, maybe backing up, or maybe in a tight spot where basically you can't be rolling, to help the truck kind of persuade itself. Yeah, I do have the hydraulic ram assist thing. I mean, maybe I don't like it. Who knows? We'll see. What else is going on with the truck? Basically the wire harness, putting that back in. I thought this was pretty interesting. I don't know if you guys can see, but I had to pull this off, but I pulled it off to get this wire harness back in, and look at all of that junk that is caught in that lower. What is that? I have no idea, but we're going to open that up and clean that tonight probably. But yep, that's where we're at. I guess I got one more quick thing I can show you guys what I'm doing. I have an 03, and I know there's other parts out there that are available that you can just buy to eliminate all this stuff, but this is all stuff out of my old truck, so I really didn't spend any money on it because I already had it, so why not try to fuck around with it, right? So Banks had this goofy-ass stud system. Basically what I did is I went in there and opened it all back up, and just like the O-Dog intake, I'm going to plug these holes with some threaded NPT brass plugs. I'm going to thread the bottom, put some studs in there, and I'm going to put it on my modified little, I guess you want to call it an adapter. I can show you guys this for the video, what I'm talking about here, but if you ever owned one of these Banks intercooler high ram setups, don't even waste your fucking money. I'm already committed to it because it comes with the pipes and the intercooler, and I got you in the fucking loop. But that's the one I modified. It had all this fucking shit that you don't need hanging off the back of it, which was basically just dummy equipment. And I basically chopped it all down, trying to give myself the most amount of room in here before the oil cooler lines, because I actually suspect a couple of things could have happened to my truck that caused the fire, but one of them I'm pretty sure didn't really help the situation was this hydraulic. The oil line that comes out of here to your remote cooler, I think, it just was vibrating and chafing on top of shit, and the days were numbered. So, but that's what I got brewing up over here. And I could always change my mind later, but like I said, I already have this shit. If I don't like it, whatever. And that's about it. One thing I actually would want to ask you guys, if anyone that's watching that has one of these trucks, can you check something for me? Because I don't know, this part kind of makes me scratch my memory and make me wonder, did I fuck it up? Because I don't remember that bracket hanging over that edge like that, but I checked other videos and my pictures, and I'm sure this is where the cross member goes, and I tried it every which way. I don't know. It's weird because they give you like slots, but you know, you can't really use them. I'm not too sure. If anybody else knows what's going on with that and why Ford decided to make that bracket hang over that cross member like that, let me know. It's not that big of a deal, but you figured they could have probably made it land a little bit more centered. Alright, well, beyond that, got the old turbo blanket back on it. Super awesome. And I got the torque converter bolts back in place, which was a real cocksucker, but what you can do, by the way, if you're ever trying to do that, you can grab your old starter motor, and there's this plug right here, and you just touch that to the positive terminal, and then bam, that thing starts cranking. So basically, yep, this one goes to your positive lug in your battery, you go over to your frame, or your motor, you grab this negative ground wire, hook it up to a battery, touch that little round one to the positive terminal, and if you're lucky and you got a buddy, if you're by yourself, you're just going to have to get lucky, and you're going to have to nail, there's a little window back there you probably can't see, but yeah, but right there behind the exhaust there's a little window where you can peep in there and basically tighten down your torque converter bolts. I recommend pulling the glow plugs out before you do that. Makes it a hell of a lot easier. But I'm waiting on a few parts for the truck. I'm waiting on the 6.7 starter. I'm going to be putting that 6.7 starter in this truck, and a water pump. Oh, the water heater. Dude, that thing was freaking stuck in there. I literally had to take my gantry, if you didn't see the short, and hook it up to the water heater pump or water heater pipe and crank on that thing till it built tension, then heated it with a torch, then hit it with a hammer, and heated it with a torch, and then basically chiseled from underneath with a screwdriver and a hammer, and then eventually with enough heat and bashing and pulling on the gantry, it came humdinging out of there. But yeah, that thing was stuck. I'm getting a new one of those, which they're only like $25-ish, so highly recommend probably trying to get that out with the frame by itself with not the cab on top of it, because yeah, you're not getting that out if it's in the cab. One last thing I want to show you guys. I actually made it. I don't know if I put it in any of the videos, but I built this on my plasma cutter table. And it's basically a reinforcement bracket for the 6.7 steering box that I put in here. So what I did was basically just made a rough drawing on my laptop in CAD, and then I put holes in the drawing too, and then I plasma cut it out. Then I lined it up with the bolt holes, and I filled in all the plug welds, beat it up around it, filled those in, re-drilled those holes after I filled them in with an oversized diameter. And yeah, that thing is badass. I had to use a slightly longer bolt to hold the steering box on, but I found a part number from Ford that just so happened to be the right length. Well, I lied a little bit because you had to shave down just a little bit of a nub of the top of the bolt because there's like a little bit of missing thread. That little bit of missing thread is sometimes it bottoms out in the steering box, so you just grind that off. It's like a millimeter or two. But yeah, I got that all recorded, but just not uploaded, so maybe one day. And really, I don't think I got anything else. Just kind of covers basically everything I've been up to. I have nothing else to say, but if you like what I'm doing, I hope you come back for the next video. And I'm assuming you're already subscribed because there's no way in hell anyone that wasn't subscribed would be listening still. But thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.